Hello everyone, this is SES Studios, presented by Shruti Arun,
Ashika Sangwan,
and Zirit Sandhu. By the end of this video, your knowledge will increase about one of the darkest chapters in history, the Holocaust, and you will be able to answer the central question, was the Holocaust a concept of functionalism or intentionalism?
A quick disclaimer that the images in this video may be frightening to younger audiences.
So first of all, let's have a closer look at what exactly the Holocaust was.
Now, the Holocaust was a dreadful time for millions of people. You may not believe it, and even the people at that time would have not assumed it, that soon 6 million people from their population would undergo brutal persecution and murder by the Nazi parties, its allies, and its contributors, all due to the family they were born into. It has been noted down in history that the date the Holocaust commenced on was January 30th, 1933. At this point in time, Adolf Hitler, the man behind all this havoc, was designated as German Chancellor, as he started to instigate what would become the Nazi massacre against the Jewish people. The Holocaust terminated on the 8th of May 1945, when it was formally accepted by the Allies.
So, you may be wondering, why did the Nazis and Hitler loathe the Jewish people so much that they wanted every single one of them to die? Well, let's begin from the start. On April 20th, 1889, this little baby was born. You'd think he would totally grow up to be an honest, caring man. Well, think again, because this is Hitler.
Hitler had quite a pitiful childhood, as his father used to physically abuse him. As Hitler wanted to provoke his dad, who was from Austria, he started getting into a German nationalism at a very young age. His brother died due to measles at the age of 10, who Hitler considered special. Hitler wanted to be an artist, whereas his father disagreed and wanted Hitler to work in the civil services.
After his father's death, Hitler attended an exam at 2 art schools, but failed miserably. With his mother now also dead, he ended up on the streets, until he joined the army during World War I. When Hitler heard that the Germans had surrendered in war, he wrongfully blamed the Jewish people and communists for protesting against the wars.
All was lost for Hitler, all until he discovered the Nazis. The Nazis, originally called the German Workers' Party, were a small party who had similar views as Hitler. He became popular very swiftly and rose to power in the party thanks to his bold and striking public speaking skills, as you can see in the following clip.
Meine Arbeit für richtig hältst, ob du glaubst, dass ich fleißig gewesen bin, dass ich gearbeitet habe, dass ich mich in diesen Jahren für dich eingesetzt habe.
The Nazi Party believed that they belonged to a race which is somewhat superior to everyone else, and they also claimed that the Jewish people belonged to an inferior social class on the hierarchy. Though this thought was common among many parties, the Nazis were different. They had a secret weapon, Hitler.
So, who are intentionalists and functionalists? Firstly, intentionalists contend that Hitler had a long-standing plan for exterminating the Jewish people, and he had every step planned out from long before the Holocaust commenced.
On the other hand, functionalists argue that rather than a straight line from anti-Semitism to the Holocaust, there was instead a twisted road to the Holocaust. In other words, the Holocaust was very much the result of the immediate circumstances that the Nazis found themselves in.
Now that you know more about the final solution, let's begin our mini debate. Representing the functionalist side for this controversy will be Cherry, and representing the intentionalist side for this debate will be Mango. Here she is.
These two will be arguing against each other to convince Kiwi to agree with their theory. Kiwi will be on the neutral side, meaning that she will support both sides' thoughts and ideas and will eventually choose a winner. This is Kiwi.
Firstly, the fact that the Wannsee Conference was held to discuss the final solution before mass murder commenced shows that the Nazi Party and ministers did not have an entirely established notion about what was going to occur next. Leon Polyakov was most empathetic in asserting that Hitler had not contemplated mass extermination from the beginning and that the final solution was not a part of a long-held exact plan. Wolfgang Scheffler also accepted that it was not planned ahead of time, but emphasized that Nazi Jewish policy nonetheless followed a logical path to the mass destruction of the European Jewish people.
But Cherry, just because they held a conference to plan what they wanted to do next, doesn't mean that Hitler hadn't already had his planning concluded. He could have already had a complete ideology about what he wanted to happen before. Furthermore, in his book, The Mein Kampf, Hitler wrote about the Jewish people, saying that all who are not of a good race are Schaf, meaning that every human had to have the perfect appearance. And Hitler wrote this book about 20 years before the mass murder even commenced in 1941. Hitler also wrote about the international significance to eliminate the Jewish people, which he said must be a bloody process. This proves that Hitler had a complete established ideology and knew exactly what was going to occur next.
The Nazi government was run by Hitler and his inner circle rather than just Hitler himself. This means that it wasn't intended, as there were many people involved with the formation of the Holocaust. It wasn't completely Hitler's idea to exterminate the Jewish people and create the Holocaust. This also proves my point as to how the Holocaust wasn't planned at all.
But Hitler could have still planned what he wanted to do with the Jewish people earlier. Hitler's own role as Führer was itself in part a product of the increasingly chaotic structures of power. There was simply no other ultimate source of decision-making, and the Hitler Order was the only final authority that could be cited. Everything was Hitler's plan and Hitler's idea. And with this, I conclude my points.
Whoa, those points were so convincing from both the intentionalist and functionalist side. Out of these opposing sides though, one team did extremely well with the accuracy of the evidence and the information provided. The winning team is Intentionalism. I believe this is due to the specific points that were expressed in the debate. The intentionalist debater emphasized that Hitler had already written in his book, The Mein Kampf, that he wanted to exterminate the Jewish people. A strong rebuttal was also provided by the intentionalist side.
Conclusively, contestability exists in this topic as both functionalism and intentionalism make ethical points regarding the reasons for the Holocaust. Intentionalists argue that the Holocaust was mainly the product of Nazi anti-Semitism and that Hitler's early writings had a clear relation to the Holocaust. Whereas functionalists argue that the Holocaust was very much the result of the immediate circumstances that the Nazis found themselves in when making decisions. Therefore, according to the arguments presented, the Holocaust was a concept of intentionalism. However, this topic will be continued to be contested in history.
Thanks for watching by SES Studios.